guys, it's Laura of Desert Knits, the newly named Desert Knits. It's lazy day. I am wearing a pair of knit socks, but that's about it that I've been wearing all day. As far as knitted things, I've been wearing clothes. So to get straight into things, I have one finished object, 3 knitting works in project, 1 spinning work in project, and a running update. First things first, finished object. This is my Sweet Dreams by Boo Knits. I love lace. I love knitting lace. I love looking at it. It keeps me entertained while I'm knitting. Boo Knits does a lot of lace patterns. I think I have most of her shawl knitting patterns in my favorites on Ravelry. So this is my first actual finished project from one of her patterns. And yes, I modified it. You may notice that the whole body, the whole thing is lace, pretty much. Like you can see up here, in the first, 2 rows, it's just stockinette. Everything else is lace. In the original pattern, it's supposed to be stockinette for all but here down. Pretty much, I think maybe from here down. I don't know. But it's supposed to be stockinette for most of the body, and then a lace setup chart, a lace chart, and then the border chart. I did the lace setup chart somewhere up here in like the first 2 rows. And knit the whole body in the lace chart and then the edging chart. This is in the yarn that Steph from the Milkshed blog sent me. It is the Palouse Yarn Company Merino Fine, 100% superwash merino in Bittersweet. I weighed the yarn, or the skein, before I started knitting, and then I weighed my leftovers. I have 10 grams of leftovers. I would only have 3, according to this, because my finished shawl is 110 grams even. But it was a very generous skein. I'm extremely glad that it was a generous skein because I promised Steph that I would send her any leftovers that I have. She gets like 10 grams of leftovers. It's not a whole lot, but I'm sending it to her because she asked me to and because she sent me this skein. She sent me this skein of yarn for the Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted thing that happened last December. I love this bronzy orange. It's going to be perfect for the summer because it's not giant. It gets really hot here. Really hot. Like last summer, I think for almost 2 weeks running, it was over 105, 110 degrees. And that Fahrenheit, I don't know what that is in Celsius. Sorry, guys. So this will probably live in the car, and I'll throw it on before I go into grocery store, restaurants, stores, post office, that kind of thing, because the air conditioning gets turned up way too high in most businesses. I get too cold, so I will probably wear this through the summer just for in cold places like the grocery store. So this is the only finished object that I have to show you guys. And technically, I guess it's not even really finished. I haven't woven in the ends yet. I'll get it. I blocked it. Though, I block on my bed because I can shut the door and keep the dogs and the cats off of the bed. I have nowhere else that I can do that. And then I had to go to sleep. So it wasn't done drying yet. So I ended up laying it over one of my looms and letting it dry, only sort of blocked, on the loom all night. It worked. I may reblock it to make the points come out pointier, but I really like it the way it is. Let's see, 3 works in progress now. So I swatched for the sweater that I want to knit out of my hand spun that I showed you guys last time. It's the traditional 3-ply, huge mix of everything, fiber samples that I had, everything. There's ends of braids that I had spun there. I think I ordered bits of ends of things, 4-ounce package from someone. Let's see, I got some 1-ounce samples from various stores over in Port Townsend just because I liked the colors. Yeah, so here's my little sample, my swatch. I knit it in the round because I'm knitting the sweater in the round. And then I did a 3-needle bind off on the top. It's a swatch. I washed it, I measured it, I have exactly 6 inches per inch. And you'll notice here, it's a completely different yarn. I am adding some Yarnia leftover stuff that I have as a contrast stripe, just to make sure that I have enough yarn to get through an entire sweater. So, 1 cake, I have 3 of these, 3 very large of these, 1 cone. Let me see if I can get their label. Their label. I love Yarnia. I've been there. I have a whole nother cone of stuff. It's like neon pink with sparkly. Yeah, I like it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I picked out all of the threads that they wind up together on the cone. I'm going to do something eventually, probably. I really want to do something woven with it, but each of the threads, I mean, it's not really wound around each other and added twist. It's all just loose threads all lined up next to each other. So I can't use Yarnia as a warp. I can use it as a weft, but I haven't figured out what warp I want to use to make a piece of fabric with the neon pink stuff. Anyways, that's not a discussion for now. The beginning of a sweater. It is a top-down raglan sweater. I have, I think, about another inch, maybe 2, before I separate for the sleeves. I am not using pattern for this. Sorry, no pattern. I did some short rows so that the back sits up higher, just because, you know, you have a back and then your front. The back needs to be higher so that it can cover the back of my neck a little bit more. It's only a difference of like an inch maybe between the back and the front. It's really soft. Like, I know that this really light bit in here has alpaca in it because I had white alpaca, and that's one of the plies. I love it. It's soft. And it's knitting up really quickly. I can probably separate for the sleeves tonight while I'm watching stuff with my boyfriend. Let's see, project number 2. This is what I've been working on at work. During breaks and stuff. Lunch when I'm not eating. It is totally blowing out the camera. This is Haute Knit Yarns in Highlight Me. It was a 50-gram skein in, as you can see, neon yellow. I'm still on the ribbing. I'll probably do another ½ inch or so of ribbing, but it's just going to be a plain kind of sleeve mitten thing so that I can wear it while I'm running. It's been interesting temperatures lately. Too warm to wear a full-on jacket, but still cool enough that I want most of my hands covered. I have one long sleeve running shirt and the sleeves end here. It's my Seattle Marathon shirt from when I did the half Seattle Marathon. When was this? Like 3 years ago? I think, maybe 4? Anyways, sleeves only come to here. Like that's before my running watch. And it's too warm for full-on gloves or mittens. So I'm going to knit myself a pair of neon yellow sleeve things that I can pull, you know, up to here if I need to, pull back, cover more of my arm than my hands, depending on where I'm cold. It'll also be nice because my nose runs when I run. My nose runs when I'm running, yes. I get very snotty. So it'll be nice to be able to wipe my nose with something that is soft. Not, you know, wiping my nose and then running into, I have one of those runner ID bracelets with phone numbers, and I have no known drug allergies just in case the worst happens and I get picked up by an ambulance, and yeah, anyways. It'll be nice to have something soft and warm and easy to stick in a pocket. I have one of those running belts that has the D-rings on it, so I can attach leashes. Typically I run with 1 or 2 dogs, so I have a pocket with treats, I have a pocket with poop bags. I can shove these sleeve things that I'm knitting into one of the pockets if I get too warm. Let's see. I have fallen down the rabbit hole and started knitting a scrap yarn, sock yarn blanket. It is not a mitered square blanket. I have the Knitter's Almanac. I love her. I love her patterns, or her recipes, because they're not even really, most of them, real patterns. You can use whatever yarn she helps, or she writes about how you can modify it to fit the way that you want to. But in one of the months, she talks about a blanket where you knit each square from the center out, and then at the very end, oh, and it's all just live stitches up here. You put it on waste yarn. And then at the very end, you use Kitchener stitch to attach them. I probably won't do that. I'll probably get about 20 squares and then start attaching, and then get another 10 or 15 squares and start attaching those. And I'm not going to use Kitchener stitch. I'm just going to use a 3-needle bind off on the back because I'm lazy. And because it'll still look good. And it'll be cool because it's not as floppy as the mitered square blankets. I'll like this more. Each one of these squares actually takes just about 10 grams. I think these two are a little bit bigger, 11 and 12 grams. Oops. Ugh. But this one is 10 grams exactly. So I can even use them as points for winter camp. Spinning. The braid that I showed you last time, I split it up so that it's a gradient. There's like 3 layers of fluff in here. I don't want to mess it up too badly. I'll be knitting that way, and then on the next layer back that way, and then on the next layer back that direction, so that I can have a color gradient. This is on one of my Jenkins Turkish spindles. This is my Aegean style spindle that he makes. I got this at a fiber festival down in Hood River, Oregon. He made it in 2013. Pretty sure I got it in 2013, though I can't say that for sure. I don't remember if it was 2013 or 2014. I just don't. Let's see. I separated the braid and used I have a pair of hand cards. I used the hand cards to make everything into rolags, and then kept it separate by color. It is a lace weight yarn. It is going to take me a while to spin. I am not going to finish this yarn in time, all 4 ounces, for the Jenkins spin along that I signed up for. My goal is 2 ounces. I will have 2 ounces done. I have 5 days to finish another 1.5 ounces. I can do it. I can do it. And finish the sweater by the end of the month, and the mitts. Those are my goals. By the end of the month, or let's see, by the 18th, I'm going to have 2 ounces of fiber spun. And by the end of the month, I will finish that sweater and the pair of mitts. And then I went to a local yarn store. It's one that I hadn't been to before. It recently opened. I don't know when exactly it did. I think I heard about it last fall from one person, and then that was like all I heard about it. No address, no opening, grand opening kind of anything, nothing. So I went up there and I got a skein of sock yarn. This was dyed locally. I think this is a group of 4 women who live here. It is a Targhee nylon blend, 90-10 Targhee nylon blend. 100 grams, 410 yards, in this lovely, it's very slightly variegated, light khaki, taupey color. I really like it. I was going to try and swatch it in with this and see what happened, but it's too lightweight. This is definitely more of a sport weight. So I'll probably knit myself a pair of socks and see how Targhee works out as far as wear for socks. So that is it for my fiber related stuff. It was nice seeing you guys again, talking to you. If you want to bow out now, I don't blame you. I'm just going to do a quick update of my running progress. I have, in the last 2 weeks, I have run just over 25 miles. Not awful. Not as far as I would like to have gone. We'll see how it compares to in a couple weeks. I'm still pretty early in the training plan that I'm in. I'm using one of the Zombies Run, I think it's the intermediate 10K training plan, where there are more speed work runs so that I can try and increase my speed. I want to be able to, there's a 5-hour cutoff limit, time limit for the marathon that I want to do at the end of the year. So I want to be able to finish a marathon in 5 hours or less. Well, a half marathon I do in about 2.5 hours. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear that. One of the dogs just came in from outside and totally stampeded through the house. Anyways, where was I? 5-hour time limit. I'm running a half marathon in about 2.5 hours. I want to be able to... Bella. Dog just cut off the bed. Sorry. Disregard dog noises. I want to be able to finish a full marathon in 5 hours, which means I need to cut down my half marathon time. Shh. Be patient. So I am probably going to be upping my mileage and continuing with the speed work stuff so that I can try to make my run times faster, which also means I'll have to start running without dogs sometimes because they definitely slow me down. That one, who was just whining, Bella, she's a couch potato. She doesn't run well. So typically when I take her, it's for a much shorter, easy run, a recovery run, as opposed to a training run kind of thing. And she can run for about a mile, mile and a half. And then we walk the rest of however far. The rest of the way home, typically, because she can't go very long. And then Molly, the youngest husky that we have, she is a terror. I run with halties on the dogs. Bella doesn't really need one. She pays attention. Molly gets distracted. She gets distracted if she hears a noise up the street. She gets distracted if we run by a car because she thinks there might be a cat underneath it. If we see a cat in the neighbor's yard, heaven forbid, I try to get her attention. She's doing a lot better than she did, but she's a husky. She enjoys small things. She enjoys chasing small things. So she runs with the haltie, and she hates the haltie. And every chance she gets, she, turns her face sideways in the ground and tries rubbing the haltie off. It doesn't do anything. It just gets her face dirty. But she still does it. And it's extremely difficult to keep up any kind of pace if we end up next to a piece of grass that she tries to rub her face on. She has tried to rub her face in piles of bark to get the nose thing off. So I'm gonna have to start running without dogs every once in a while, which means my mileage per week is going to go up because Molly does get herself into trouble if she doesn't get runs. The other dogs are... Bella's a couch potato. She's fine if she doesn't get runs. She enjoys going out. She gets very excited if I start putting on my running stuff, but it doesn't impact her behavior. Cody and Sapphire are 12 and 13, so they're old enough. They get excited for walks around the block. They can't run. They don't go for runs. They're too old and arthritic. But Molly gets herself into trouble if she doesn't run. Like jumping up on the washer and dryer to eat the cat food, or opening up the closet that we keep the dog food and the treats and their toys in, and helping herself to whatever she likes. The dog food is it's in a plastic tub, so she can't actually get into the food, and the treats are high enough up, but she has two toys that are her absolute favorite. She can open that door and get the toys out, and then she gets into the crate that we just leave set up in the living room. She goes in there and guards the toys, which typically means that the other dogs give her about a 5-foot berth so that they don't get attacked over a toy. Yeah, she keeps us well entertained with her antics. So she requires running. Requires, not optional. She is the epitome of a husky. She gets herself into trouble. She chases small things. She gets very excited when we hear birds. Yeah. This morning, she came on the run with me, and we ended up completely drenched. Even though it is the desert here, we have been getting a lot more rain than usual, which is wonderful. Don't get me wrong, I love the rain. I don't like running in the rain when I end up completely soaked through in 5 minutes and it's hailing every once in a while. That happened this morning. Luckily, it was only in the last 15 minutes before I was home. But Molly and I both ended up completely drenched. Completely. I was tempted to go buy a rain jacket just for running, because we got so wet. I didn't. I don't think that I would actually end up using it very much because it doesn't rain that much here. I just got lucky and caught in the downpour. So, yeah, that is my running update. Thank you for staying all the way through if you stayed through the running update. I'm pretty sure it's probably dinner time, which is why the dogs stampeded through the house and why Bella decided she needed to get off the bed and go sit by the door. She's laying by the door, looking underneath the crack right now. It's kind of adorable. Let's see if you can... So she's just laying by the door. I think she's hoping for dinner. So, I think it's probably their dinner time. Which is why she's over there. So I'm gonna go see what's happening in the rest of the house, and I will talk to you guys in a couple weeks.
It took me about...
Where'd it go? Safi.
Got two embezzlers.